Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to talk about HTML DOM. Before getting started, if you are new to my channel, I talk about web development and programming. So if you are interested in either of them, consider subscribing to my channel. And with that said, let's get started with today's video. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a PDF or PPT converted into a PDF. You can find the link in the description where you will have the starter code as well as this PDF. So as you can see here on the second page, we have a tree structure. So this tree structure is basically you could say a graphical representation of what HTML DOM is. In when we are coding with JavaScript, we have a document object. Okay, so if you press document dot inside your ID like VS Code, you will get a lot of methods. So you can actually change your DOM, that is you can add elements, or you can change the attributes of your elements, you can change the CSS of your elements, all using JavaScript. So that is basically what HTML DOM means. It just means our object, that is our whole HTML is represented as a tree, as an object. So or at the root is our document object, and then we have root HTML element, and our root always has a head, and head has a title inside of it, and we have body, or HTML also has a body. So inside of body now we can have different things, like we may have an image, and image may have different attributes like source and also alt attribute, and a body may also have a paragraph with text I am Iron Man or anything in general. This is just an example. So basically this is what a document object model means. We represent our HTML tags or HTML elements in the form of a tree, and we can manipulate them through JavaScript. So enough with the theory, and let's have a look at how we can actually manipulate our DOM and change or add elements using JavaScript. So before diving into code, this is what we have. Code you will find in the description. You will also find the JavaScript, the complete JavaScript, but I will explain the JavaScript part. So as you can see here, we can type anything here, like anything, not very creative I know, and we can just add it here. So as you can see now here, a new h1 element is added, and we can also delete this. So as you can see now, it's no longer in our part of our HTML. So this is what DOM manipulation using JavaScript means. We can create and delete new elements inside of our JavaScript. So now that we know what HTML DOM is and we know what we can do with it, let's have a look at how we can do the things we are doing here. In the description of this video, you will find a link to my GitHub account, GitHub repository, where you can find this PDF or index.html file, and or all these files, and our JavaScript would be completed JavaScript. So you can just delete the JavaScript and do the coding part with me. So as you can see here, in our HTML we don't have anything special. As you can see, we have just one paragraph saying I am Iron Man, a div tag having a image tag inside of it with my logo, as we can see here, and we also have one input tag type text, as we can see here, and we have a couple of buttons, and the buttons are inside of a div tag. So that's just it. And we also have some styling. So I'm not going to explain styling because this video is more focused on DOM manipulation. You can just download it, and we can just start working with it. First thing what we will do is we will use query selector. So what is query selector? As I said, we have a document object using which we can manipulate our HTML. So when we do document dot query selector, as you can see, the type of our main variable is HTML element. So we are selecting an HTML element with the name main. As we can see here, our main tag is the tag after our body tag, which has all the remaining markup of our web page. So we are actually selecting our main tag. So this is how we get reference to a tag inside of our JavaScript. Now there are different methods as well. We can use document dot get elements by tag name, and there are different methods, and I will come back to those later. But first let's have a look at how I did what I was doing, adding h1 tags and removing them. So this first line just gets us a reference to the main element or the main HTML tag inside of our document, inside of our markup HTML document. And now next line, let input is equals to document dot get element by id. So as I said, we have different methods, get elements by class name, because many elements may have same class name, but id is unique to every element. That's why we can do get element by id, because it has to be unique, so we know we are going to get just a single result. So as you can see here in our markup, our input has a id of st, so that's why we can do get element by id, document dot get element by id. So we get a reference to the input tag with id st. And now we will get a reference to button with class add h1s. So as you can see here, we have a query selector, and inside of query selector we are specifying the element that we want to select, that is button, plus the class, that is dot add h1s. So as you can see here, inside of our button container we have two buttons. First one has a class of add h1s, and second one has a class of clear h1s. Now the only reason why we are getting a query selector, a single element here, because we are using query selector, document dot query selector, and not query selector all. Document dot query selector is also another method using which you can select multiple elements with same class, but for now let's just stick to this one, this syntax, because we want just one button. And now we will add an event listener to our button. We can add all kinds of event listeners, but for now we just want a click event listener. That is, we want to do something, more specifically we want to add a h1 tag inside of our markup whenever we click this button. So now let's create a new element. Our document object allows us to select elements as well as create new HTML elements. In this case, in this specific instance, we are creating a h1 tag. You can create an image tag or a paragraph tag or any tag you want. You can play with it. For now I'm creating an h1 tag. And now let's just say our text is equals to input dot value dot string. So as you might remember, we have here our HTML element, input element. So input element has a property value, so value just gives us any value that we might have typed inside of our input tag, that is here we might type anything and we will get that value, and we will store it in a variable called text. And now we are just changing its value. We can either get its value using dot value or change its value. So we are just clearing our input. Each time we add a h1, our input tab is going to, or our input section is going to be cleared, and we can again enter a new input. And now we are changing our h1 text content. This h1 tag dot text content just simply means that what is the text content, or what is the text we want between the h1 tags, because as you might know, h1 tag is also has a closing tag. So what is the text we want between the opening and the closing bracket of a h1 tag? We can do that with text content, or we can also do that with inner HTML. So for now, because we want to change the text, let's do text content. And now we will just append our h1 tag to the main tag. So using append child method, here we had the first thing we did was get the reference to main tag, and now we are just creating a new h1 tag and we are appending it. So these are some of the methods that we saw. Now let's have a look at how it affects our program. So let's add something like something, and now as you can see here, we have a new h1 tag with something written inside of it. So as you can see, whenever we click our button, first thing what's happening is we are creating a new h1 tag, okay, because it's here h1. You can change it to something else, but it will just create, if you change it to p, it will create a paragraph tag or something else. But since we are creating a h1 tag, as you can see here, we have a h1 tag inside of our markup, and then we are just extracting the input value from our input tag and then changing its input value to empty. So that's why whenever we add something new, its value again its value is empty and we do not have anything inside of it, because we are doing that in our program. And then we are changing the text content, that is what will be inside of this closing and opening tags of h1, new something, using a program. And then we are just appending our h1 tag onto our markup, that is onto our main tag. As you can see here, this is inside of our main tag and not body. We could have got a reference to this div tag and appended our h1 tag into this div tag as well. But now we have added a h1 element, and what if we want to remove one, remove a child? Similar to append child, we can first get a reference to second button, that is the button with clear h1s, class clear h1s, and we can add a event listener, click event listener. After adding a click event listener, select h1 tag, but what it will do is it will just select the oldest h1 tag that we added. That is the default behavior, and it will just select one h1 tag because we are doing query selector and not query selector all. There's a method called query selector all which selects all the h1 tags, but because we are using query selector and not query selector all, it will only select one h1 tag. And now we can just do main dot remove child h1 tag, and now it should work. So let's add something, some content, something, and again something new. We can ignore the spelling. And now when we click on clear h1s, as we can see, our h1 tag was removed. We can also have a look at these changes in our inspector. When we delete, our h1 tags disappears. So we can try that again. So whenever we add h1, a new h1 is added. Whenever we clear h1, oldest h1 is removed. Now I would also like to show you the query selector all. We also have a query selector all method, and this time instead of removing a child, let's just log console.log or h1. Now let's write something and add a couple of tags here. And when we now let's go to our console, and now when we clear h1s, as you can see, we get a node list. So, and because we have two h1 tags, we get a list of those two h1 tags, and it has a lot of properties on it, like you can see here. So we get a couple of h1 tags, and we also get length, that is the default property every array has. So we get an array of node list. We could have added some more, and now as you can see, we have a node list of 3 elements, 3 h1 tags. So that's the difference between query selector and query selector all. Query selector all selects all the matching elements, and query selector just selects a single element. It does not care if you have other elements as well, but it always selects a single element. Now this is not the only way to select all the elements or all the h1 tags or any specific HTML tag. You can also do get element. We already saw get element by id. It returns a single element with that specific id, because we cannot have duplicate ids inside of our HTML file. But we also have other similar methods, like you can see in your Visual Studio. It gives us a good list of all the methods available. We have get elements by class name. So as you can read here, it returns a HTML collection of all the elements in the object on which the method was invoked that have the classes given by class names. So we can also select by class names, because remember, multiple elements can have a same class name. That's why we have get elements by class name and not get element. And we also have get elements by name. So as you know, we use We also have a name attribute on different HTML elements. That's more related to backend. We use name for backend purposes and not really for front-end purposes, so we can ignore it for now, but you can use it because different elements may have same name as well. So that's one method exposed by document object. And we also get elements by tag name. So let's do this, and now let's log our values. So let's add some h1s, and let's click on clear h1s. And now you can see we are again getting a collection, but this time we are getting a object, not a array but a object of all the h1 tags we have in our HTML document. So as you can see here, so those are couple of methods using which you can get all the h1 tags, and it does not have to be h1 tag, it can be a paragraph tag as well. So when I click here, we get a single paragraph tag because with class IM, that is this paragraph tag, this is a paragraph tag with class IM. So as you can see here, and we cannot only get those values, as we saw here, we can also change their value. So we can do input dot value, or we could actually also do h1 tag dot inner HTML or inner text. So instead of this, we could also do something like inner HTML, and we could do we can be a little creative, like maybe a paragraph tag plus or text. So we are actually adding HTML inside of our another element, that is this h1 tag that we are creating. So let's try this, and now let's have a look at our inspector. Inside of our main, we have a h1, and now, but as you can see, we have a paragraph inside of our h1. We have a paragraph, and inside of a paragraph we have a text content, and this is what we are doing here. We cannot only set the text content, but we can also set inner HTML. This is one of the properties exposed by document object model HTML DOM. So if we try to do the same thing with text content, now we will have a different result. So as you can see here, it just treats it as a text. It does not treat paragraph tag or this tags as any special tags, because we are clearly saying that we want to set the text content and not the HTML. There are plenty of other methods as well that DOM exposes, but this was just a overview that I wanted to show you, and how powerful JavaScript as a language is, and how you can actually manipulate the entire your markup from inside of your JavaScript. You can create and delete HTML elements. I would definitely highly recommend you to go and read more about it and have a look at other documents or other articles like W3 Schools and MDN Docs. I will link all of them in the description. Please go and read about them and try to build projects. So that's it for today's video, and we will meet in my next video.